TJ Denzer, here as always, your senior news editor for Shacknews, and once a week, your host, supplier, purveyor of fine indies on the show we like to call Indie-licious. I am joined today by Denis Von Doom, our community manager for Shacknews, helping me keeping things running on the chat side, because I am not alone. We are not alone. We're joined by the developers of this game we're playing today, Souldiers. The devs from Dear Villagers are here with us today, lurking in the background. Thank you all for joining us. Hey, why don't you all go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hello everybody. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here with you, speaking about the game and watching you play. My name is Leo. I'm one of the programmers of the game. My main role in the team is programming, but since we are a very small team, I wouldn't say that's my only role here. Since like all of us, it's like I wear many hats a day, so that's the indie developer life.
And,
Okay.
Go ahead.
My name is Sergio. I'm part of also the Retrofit Forge team. I'm also a developer as Leo. First of all, thank you very much for to the community for joining us, and we hope you enjoy this stream of Souldiers.
And the third of the bunch, hello, my name is Saul. I am the third coder. We are three coders in the team. My main roles is physics and control. And first of all, thank you all, Johnny, Denny, for having us. And let's go have a great time.
Absolutely. And this is, you may have seen, I posted earlier in the chat, in our Twitch chat, we did a preview for this game. It is not currently out yet, but it is coming on May 19th. It is coming to everything. It's coming to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, PC via GOG, Steam, and Epic Games Store, and Nintendo Switch, if that is correct, right?
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Nice.
So you will be able to find this game everywhere. It is a Metroidvania, pixel-styled. I've had a chance to play a little bit of this game already. It's I'm sorry. Was somebody else?
I think that's everyone.
Okay. I thought I talked over someone for a sec, but yeah, it's I had a chance to play this game for preview. It is still in preview, so there may be some bugs. But other than that, it is a very fun game. I found it to be like, we're not exactly lacking for Metroidvania games, but this one, like when you hit that formula right, it's just so good. And I think that Souldiers does quite a good job of that. So let's just jump in and check it out.
Oh, thank you. Let's hope you don't find any bugs. We are going to die.
I am trash in the chat saying that the music volume is a little bit louder than us, so I'm gonna have to turn it down a bit.
The music.
This is the curse with live events.
Yeah.
Drop a little bit of the volumes a little bit so we come through better. Alright.
The soundtrack is nice though.
Oh.
For sure. I had started the game on the Scout, and there are various different classes in this game. So today I'm going to fiddle around with a few of the others. Specifically, I like playing a little bit of Rogue, so I'm probably gonna play the Archer this time.
Oh yeah, I saw a little gameplay of the Archer in some of the trailers. And I got like a counter hit mechanic and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the Archer is quite nice. He shoots from afar, he keeps a safe distance, so you can play more or less safe. It's fun.
I mean, if you have the chance to check all three, I mean, they are diametrically different. I mean, the experience is totally different.
I did get a chance to look at their basic components and their skill trees, and it really is interesting, just like how much you made these three classes play so very different from one another, as far as just like just taking like one, like these are soldiers, and their classes just like they do so many different things based on their class alone.
Yeah, it's a challenge from many points of view, from design, from balancing, from because it's like, let's say, making 3 games at once. Because it's so different. It's not like, I don't know, like other games where you have some archetypes that more or less can combine or something. This is like, well, I guess everybody who goes this way finds the same problems, which are making everything balanced, everything play okay. Some not make some characters overpower or underpower. It's a challenge.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, how much, time did it take to workshop out each one of these classes in a way that, like you were saying, there's a lot of different testing and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. Did you guys start with a particular character and that's kind of like your foundation, and then build out the other two, or?
It's a bit hard to say. I mean, I'd say that we always start with a base class, which is more or less based on the scout, because it's kind of the most rounded one. Then we have a groundwork of different mechanics. We start which tend to start very simple, but as time goes, the list grows, and probably I can say it can take to maybe like 6 months to finish a proper class, one person.
I see.
Because there's a lot of little details, little intricacies. I mean, I can't tell you everything right now, but there's a lot of small stuff there.
Gotcha.
In fact, the work is I mean, it's not finished. You are always making small changes, small tweaks. It's like, well, this is not 100% okay yet. We have to change a little thing of this, a little thing of that, and we never end.
It's like a drawing. It's never over.
Yeah, always fine tuning. That makes sense.
Whatever. That's the beauty of it too.
Well, I mean, as of right now, do you guys feel pretty good about each class? They all feel good to you? I mean, and after all that fine tuning, at some point you gotta let it loose in the world.
Yeah.
No, at this point,
and that point is coming.
Well, yeah, each class looks pretty interesting. I think that's definitely a draw to the game from what I can tell. I'm curious to see how TJ plays with the archer class. That looks pretty cool to me, with the long range options originally, with some of the trailer stuff.
It's also very interesting because like the characters that you've got here, like the Valkyrie, the Brigard, a few of the others that we'll run into eventually, they're all very lush. They're all very cool looking. But you play as these soldiers. You play as kind of like the fodder, and I'm curious, like, what was the decision and direction behind that, where you like play as sort of like these nameless soldiers as opposed to like these as opposed to some of the other named characters in the game.
Well, I'm not part of the creative team, so maybe that's a question for them. But the thing is that right from the beginning, we started, I would say, with this in mind. We didn't want to make the player the typical hero, the archetypical, I don't know, badass hero that everybody knows and so on. And we went with anonymous soldier right from the beginning. I'm not sure why, but it kind of worked for us. I don't know.
It's kind of reminiscent of the old RPG games like Final Fantasy Tactics and games like that, where you get classes instead of characters. It's a bit reminiscent of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's.
Yeah, I can get some of that vibe.
Yeah, you got like knights and squires as opposed to actually like just characters like Ramza. I absolutely get that. All right, here we go. And as I said before, you got the three classes. You got the scout, which is kind of like that's gonna be like everybody's bread and butter melee character. They got the quick attack, strong attack, and they got the parry. Archer, shooting arrows, throwing their bow to collect the arrows, which I think is a very interesting mechanic in of itself. And then of course the caster, who is like the mage. They have their magic missiles, and then they have a burst attack that's pretty strong. And as I said, I dig agility, speed, arrows, and I'm going to be playing as the archer today.
It's a class for you.
See, I feel like I'd be hopping on that mage with that cool fit and the staff. About that life. So I saw like there's like a stamina bar, but I haven't played the game, so I'm not sure how that comes into play with the actual gameplay. As I saw there were like stamina stats and other things, so he was choosing classes.
Well, all right. So
No, go. Sorry.
I know for each of the characters they have a guard button. And if you take hits while you've got the guard up, that will drain the stamina. But also, there's a dodge and parry button for each of the characters.
Oh, okay.
That operates in different ways.
Mm-hmm. It's it's basically your shield bar. Let's say it's a shield bar, but you also use it for other purposes. For example, for the scout, you can parry. For the archer, you will see shortly. So it's more of a stamina bar. Yeah, it's not only blocking but also doing some stuff.
I like the sound of that. You know, giving variety as far as options and mechanics. Sounds really good. I'm a big parry person, so I will use it to my advantage when I can.
I also love the lush colors in this game. Like, it is so very bright and so vibrant. And I feel like that's a super important thing. Like, I love me a good pixel game. And I know that there's a lot of different aesthetics out there. I like the bright, I like the vibrant, I like the lush and colorful. And this game really pops. That was like one of the biggest things that stood out for me right from the get-go. It's just how gorgeous everything looks.
Yeah, it's very pretty. I'm sure it's going to look great on Switch.
Oh, thank you. That's we will tell our artists. They will love to know. Yeah, maybe it's even bad to say it, or maybe it's not very very good to say. But for example, me, I'm also surprised with many of their designs because I don't know. I love everything these guys do.
Was there ever any crossover between the actual character or creature designs and the gameplay side of things? Were there ever anything you guys came to you and they changed any designs along the way based on what a character or a creature does in game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. In fact, most of the inspiration comes from the designs. It's like the opposite. It's not the design. It's like we get how something moves or how something behaves, and we build the game around that. It's more or less what we have done.
That makes sense.
Yeah, of course, sometimes, not always, but sometimes there's a previous design stage talking about mechanics and so on, and this character should attack this way or should do this, and this. But then from what we speak in the design-wise and what the artists bring for that enemy, for example, or for that character or something, it's a so huge change that I'm amazed every time it happens, because you see in paper, maybe I don't know, maybe you can assimilate some mechanics to, I don't know, flying whatever, a flying enemy that is I don't know, that is fast and so on. But then they come with another version of it that matches everything we have spoken, and it's awesome, and it's something
pretty
different.
cool.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
Even if it sometimes means more work for us.
of course,
than-
it always means more time for us, more work for us.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You guys have a nice relationship going from pen and paper to
tutorial.
having it actually go down.
Mhm.
I got a big boy here.
Yeah, we're gonna see if I can actually survive this encounter because he's not easy at all. Yeah, there is a certain thing about it.
The next thing with the archer is that, I mean, to get your arrows back, you need to use the bow. So you need to master this little dance of death, in which you are unarmed for a little bit, to be able to attack more fiercely.
Oh. Some nice maneuvering there. Dodge that one.
In fact, I think this combat is the difficult one with the archer of the three classes.
Yeah, you definitely gotta have your movement on point. That's for sure.
Alright.
And almost.
There it is.
That's it. That's it.
That's the
Hey,
first.
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
He didn't even touch you. Yeah, perfect.
So, fun fact: if you lose that encounter, the thief gal that we ran into saves us. That is the first
Yeah.
time I've ever actually beaten that encounter so far.
Oh,
Nice.
got a first on stream there.
Hey.
Looks like you got some practice from the previous round.
A little bit, a little bit.
I paid off.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, it seems like learning the mechanics is rewarding as you go through again.
So, trigger warning for those watching the stream: Spider Lair is not just a name.
Oh boy, they gotta have the spiders.
Somewhere.
But yeah, that was pretty solid stuff. So when it comes to because this is a Metroidvania, how do you guys kind of approach difficulty or balancing out difficulty when it came to knowing what feels right for the game and then still keeping it challenging? Was it difficult to kind of start balancing that out? I know, like you said, you had playtesting and talked to the players and seeing what they figured out and.
Yeah, I should say, I'm not part of the design team, so I don't know what magic happens inside of their minds. But this is not an easy task. We have play tested the game a lot with many people and gathered many feedback and tweak the values, the stats so many times. I don't know. In the end, it's just I guess listening to people and adapting to what you see, and of course a lot of trial and error. It's just
That's it.
testing.
More test and error. It's the full process. A
That's
lot of iteration over the balancing and getting a lot of feedback from the players and listening to them, as Leo has said.
I mean, it might be stressed how important it is the feedback. I mean, there has been lots of, well, not lots of, but a good number of mechanics or little things that people didn't understand, and seeing them live, don't understanding them and react, and listening to their suggestions is something that has improved the game in several aspects.
Yeah, because there is some all the time there's something. It's like, and we many times you think, but how can people don't understand this? It's impossible that people don't understand that this works like this, like this, like this. But people, it's surprising that people don't get the things that you think they should get in some way. So you have to teach them how to play. Let's say you have to throw in some tutorials, some things. If they don't look like tutorials, it's better, but you cannot always do that.
Yeah.
I want to point out, like, I have to believe this was intentional, but like this little armadillo over here, You see him, and he like crawls around. If you get close to him, he rolls up. But then you also see him, like he crawls into this wall over here.
Yeah,
It is.
that was intended.
And then
It's,
and that's when
hidden.
you learn for the first time, oh my gosh, there's going to be secrets in this game, like parts of the terrain that you might not see unless you
Yeah,
explore more.
That's it. That's
So
it.
here's the
And not everybody is going to see it, of course. But if you
that's really
are,
cool.
if you watch, if you are looking at the environment and so on, you can get some clues of things. And this is one of them.
In fact, here in the Kumos, there is a good example of feedback given by the players, because here, as you can see in the holes, where as you start defeating them, you will see that some of the holes start closing them. That was a feedback that we get from the players in order to explain them that there is a exact number of Kumos of spiders that will pop up from the holes, that they are not infinite in that case.
People thought they were infinite and just skip them. And when running and we say, but why do you think that? You don't see that if you keep fighting them, they disappear eventually. It's like, no, I don't know. Okay, so we came up with this.
In fact, that solution came from a player that plays the game in a live event.
That's cool.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's why feedback is so important.
Oh, it's TJ. Something popped up on screen. It's like
Sorry about that.
on the Discord in.
Oh. That's what. Sorry. Discord's being funny today.
All right, let's see it now.
Thank you.
Well, that's really cool though that the live feedback is paying off. The process.
Because sometimes as a game developer, I mean, you know the whole game, you know everything. It's hard to put in yourself in the shoes of the player, something that experiences for the first time, and you need to kind of unlearn and kind of think what something what somebody that doesn't know anything will think, and it's a hard process that I suspect it's a very challenge for the design team.
Yeah, and it's like we have been developing the game for more or less 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And in 4 years playing this, you get to master the game a lot. You play more or less good. so you need to do an exercise to think. Okay, I play like this, but how? Because we have a lot of play hours behind. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't counted that. I don't know. Thousands or hundreds of hours. So you say, okay, how could we get this experience to somebody who has been playing for 1 hour only? How do you put that level to make this person enjoy the fight?
Yeah,
It's a challenge.
That's the point, that sometimes we get polluted for the thousand of hours that we have played the game, and we have to somehow make an exercise to understand that maybe we are not the right person to judge if something is well balanced.
And
that makes sense.
Not everybody's going to learn all the mechanics the moment you tell them. I mean, it's going to take time for it to sync.
And people also forget how to use controls and things like that, so you have to remember them sometimes or things like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. There's also situations where, of course, people play multiple games and they swap back and forth, so sometimes, it might be harder to remember what certain things do if they're coming back and forth from a game after a while. I know that I have some friends who only get to really play on the weekends because they're just too busy at work. So after you haven't played for a week, it might be a little bit harder to, bounce back in, remember everything sometimes. So.
Yeah, it's very hard, especially if the game has a lot of controls and a lot of mechanics and so on, and uses all the buttons of the pad. You're going to forget everything in a couple of weeks. You don't play.
In any case, I must say that in the game you can completely set up the controls.
Oh, that's good to know.
Of each button is not preset. It's preset, but you can change it.
That's pretty good. I know for accessibility, there's always different layouts that people like to go with. Same with controllers and things like that.
That's it.
And I love the fact that like you've got like all these really cool characters in the game, and then you got Mackerel and Grouper, who are like the Abbott and Costello of soldiers, or like the Bert and Ernie, and I like all the characters in this game are really charming. I love coming across them.
Yeah, I saw you were in a skill tree earlier.
Yes. So that was my first level up, and this is the archer's skill tree. It'll be different depending on the class you play, and the first thing that you unlock is your parry ability. Is basically your class's parry ability. For the archer, it's this side step where if you do it as soon as they're about to attack you, you can fire off a stronger arrow attack.
Okay.
And for the scout, it's like a straight up parry where if you'll block their attack and then you can hit them with a critical.
Nice. And these spiders are sniping right now. That's really cool. I mean, has there been any like mechanics or abilities from the skill tree that you guys have had to pull out because they either weren't balanced the way you wanted to, or had to tweak in a way that changed up what was used? Because it seems like there's a decent amount of abilities there that you can unlock for each character. So did some things not make it into the version you guys are putting out now that may have been around earlier?
As far as I remember, we have changed the skill tree a couple of times. It's like some abilities didn't fit correctly, so something like that.
Many times.
A couple of many times.
Have any of them been like because of player feedback, like you were saying, where they weren't using the mechanics or something like that? You have to adjust in ways to get them to use them more naturally.
I can't remember that.
Yeah, this spider is hawking you down right now. Jeez.
I'll have to figure out how to better fight them.
The spider is the first gladiator enemy, kind of. I mean, that's a bit of everything. You need to put what you learn to good use.
I see.
Alrighty. Piece of the map.
I love a good map.
And traps.
Ooh. Some traps here and there. Don't hurt.
Well, you definitely did a good job of making the world seem dangerous, because everything wants to kill you. They're doing a pretty good job.
Here we go. That one went a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's cute, but it's moody. So.
Getting the hang of it. So when it comes to like the level design angle, how did you guys kind of decide how big the game itself would be, world-wise?
Yeah.
It's like we never decided that.
Yeah.
I mean, we never put a limit to that. It's like, okay, we go doing things, and it's like that. I mean, we didn't have a playtime in mind or things like that. It was like, no, these are the levels it's going to have, and this is the length that seems appropriate for each level, and things like that. And
Yeah, we can say that we have not made cuts in the game. We have everything that we planned from the beginning. I think more or less everything is in the game. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's awesome, but it has been a long journey.
Well,
Yeah.
but it's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's worth it. You gotta keep everything as intended.
That's it.
That way, when you get your final product, you know that the people are playing the game that you wanted to put out. So that's pretty cool.
Well, there are always details that cannot go in the final, because we are always polishing, changing things, and improving, and yeah, you never end. You have to put a limit to that and say, okay, hands off. It's now time to hands off, and from that moment on, it's like, but we need to fix this, but we need to add this, but we need. It's like you have to keep calm and say, okay, no, the game is more or less in its final state.
That's it.
So let's hope it's good enough.
I mean, are you all prepared for when the speedrun scene gets a hold of the game? Because there's always an avid speedrun community.
That's something I myself, and I think my colleagues too, are very curious to see how people are going to, if they are going to speedrun the game, and how they're going to do it.
Yeah, I have a lot of curiosity.
Me too.
To see how much time is the minimum they can get with glitches and with things that we know that they are going to be there. We cannot. I mean, they are always there for every game. So
yeah, I mean, there's people that might do challenge runs too. Like I'm part of the challenge run community for more like Soulsborne content. So I know that some people will go through with a no death run or no hit run and those kind of things. So I can see that happening with this game too, where they might have some different strategies for just avoiding getting hit at all.
Yeah, I think a no hit run here is quite hard. I think, but
that's definitely gonna be hard.
Yeah, it's really hard.
You never know. You
never know because we have seen people playing with dance pads and things like that.
I never
know.
Yeah, I mean, usually people when they commit to that kind of run, we're talking like months. Like they'll spend time just routing each area before they move on to the next one, and they'll run through that area over and over again until they can go through it without the hit, and then they move through for the rest, and then it kind of just builds up over time for each one. So that I would say most likely they'd probably scope for which class would work best, and then test out a few different routes, and then see like things like the mechanics here. If like the archer, they'd see how many arrows it takes per hit to take out certain enemies, and how quickly they can do that, and then move through each particular portion. And see
it's a lot of work to be able to do that. Yeah.
That's something I'm really curious to know, which class is better suited for speedrunning, because we have our ideas, but reality could be a totally different thing. Because classes has pros and cons on speedrunning. So.
Yeah, for sure. So there's going to be a lot of optimization with folks trying to figure out what's the most optimized both routes and mechanics that work best for, which I think is going to come down to that skill tree that you guys have been building out and fleshing out. Those kind of parry mechanics, and whether that's a big deal for when it comes to like boss design. Have you guys had kind of like any like I don't want to say like spoil or anything like that, but as far as like philosophy, are there certain bosses that might be easier with a parry or some of the mechanics compared to just fighting them straight up in similar ways?
I wouldn't say. I mean, I think what we seeked in with the bosses was that ideal flow. I mean, of trying once, getting beating it somehow, dying of course, trying again, beat a bit more with the new knowledge, and in a constrained number of tries, be able to beat it and feel great, of course. We tried not to drag too much.
Yeah.
For example, nice one.
Is there like situations where certain enemy types or bosses will try and limit you from using certain abilities, or like things like jumping or stuff that you might have done kind of committed to using regularly in the gameplay that they might take away?
Well, I don't want to spoil anything. The thing is, Sometimes you are forced to change your style of combat. Sometimes, but without us telling you explicitly. It's like you have to realize that you need to change your approach to combat.
Yeah, I like that. You know, getting out of your comfort zone a bit in certain ways, because there's definitely.
Yeah, for example, some movement that works for you in a situation maybe doesn't work in another situation, in another boss or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think let's see how people play.
Yeah.
It was intention to make you always think about alternatives.
And of course, there are classes that are better suited for some bosses, and vice versa.
Mhm.
Depends on which one.
Yeah. There's a section later where there's a lot of bombs, and with the scout, who is very short range, that is a concerning situation. I would hope it might be a little bit easier with a class that can shoot arrows at long range at enemies that happen to be throwing those bombs.
Let's find out.
So I mean, I think it's safe to say that you guys have approached like the replayability factor with the different classes pretty heavily. I mean, I could see that, like TJ mentioned earlier, that there's secrets and such. Are there going to be additional reasons to go back and play again if you've beaten it through?
We can say probably we shouldn't. Might be not.
I think it like in every game. I think just for me as a player, it's like I'm not very completionist. So it's like, okay, just finish the game because I don't have a lot of time to play games. So it's like, okay, I cannot spend 100 hours playing this because otherwise I only play this in I don't know in 3 or 6 months. But if you play the completionist style, maybe you can find some things to go back or some things you have missing. I think.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely seems like a game that will deep dive. I mean, folks are, especially if they're into the characters. I imagine some fan art popping up for sure with some of these designs.
I love Beloff.
I think also if you have, even if you have finished the game and just want to play it differently, you can change the class you're playing with because it changes a lot the way the game plays.
For sure.
So that will be another reason to revisit the game once you finish it.
Yeah, and that's kind of a built-in thing that will make both speedrunning and completions a very unique situation, because not only will you have like overall people going for the fastest, but also you'll have like caster completion, archer completion, scout completion, best builds, all that jazz.
1cc.
Yeah, individual categories.
Yeah, sure. And if you want to maximize things, maximize defense or maximize damage or whatever, you need to explore also the possibilities.
Yeah, I think having the classes as the core definitely adds to the appeal. I think people like variety. And even people that don't like variety like an opportunity to unlock a ton of different skills for a particular class. So you kind of succeed on both ends there, giving people options and also giving them the way to kind of pour in to a skill tree and such for the class they do like. So it pays off on both ends.
That's it. Boom, suck it.
So now I got the bombs, so now I can start breaking apart. In typical Metroidvania fashion, you get like the stuff that allows you to open up more of the terrain. So Bailoff gave me bombs, and now I can break apart certain walls that have that are fragile. And can I say how much I appreciate the fact that once you discover an obstacle you can't come across, it automatically marks it on the map, because I'm the type of person that forgets about the little nooks that I wasn't able to get through before, and having the marker for that like just automatically come to the map once I find it the first time is super useful, super helpful.
Yeah, that feature came from the feedback of people. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
to say, well, I want to backtrack, but I don't know where to go. I don't know where things are. I don't know where are the blockers or where are things. So we added that. Yeah.
And the type of blockers.
And the type of blockers. Yeah. We maybe we don't explain them, but once you know them, it's very. I don't know. I think they are very intuitive to know what type of blockers they are, just from the image.
That's pretty cool. I know you guys have mentioned, a ton of the player feedback. Is there anything else as far as that you think has had a major impact on the game that you've gotten from the feedback directly, besides like the balancing and such?
The feedback is really important. I mean, something maybe a bit basic.
Of
Even
course.
if you don't do anticipated access, or I mean, you don't release early, it's pretty important. Early access, sorry.
Of course, balancing changes came from feedback. That's for sure. That's the first thing you see. I'm trying to remember if other things also came from feedback. Also, this feature from the map that you say. Maybe, I'm sure more, but I cannot remember now. I don't know.
Me neither. I mean, we kind of interest them, but there were lots of tweaks that we did due to the
a lot of
community feedback
things
and live shows.
Yeah, I was wondering, other like quality of life or accessibility type situations. Like, I know you guys mentioned that you could, remap the buttons and those kind of things. I know that comes in handy for people that have different controller layouts and keyboard layouts and those kind of things they might be doing. So I have friends that, some of them do runs on like their feet or with one arm and stuff like that. So button layout ends up being a big deal for these type of games.
Yeah, for example, another example of a feature that is very simple, is very, let's say, stupid or something, but is very useful, is you can see the number of uses you have for your weapons, for your secondary weapons. That is something that it wasn't there all the time. It was there just after some people say, I don't know how many times I'm going to be able to use the weapon, because I'm spoiling maybe for people who haven't seen the game before.
Well, there's more than one weapon.
Yeah, that's the bomb is a weapon. It's a secondary weapon, let's say. And you can change them. Some of them consume more shards than others. So you don't know how many uses you can make from each weapon. So that is something we added, the number of uses.
Okay.
It's simple. It's something that apparently is not very important, but it's like I don't know, let's say quality of life improvement of the game. Let's say it makes the players have more control of the game.
And you need to micromanage as much.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's going to be important. I mean, it may not be for necessarily the casual player, but for runners and such, if they have a certain weapon that they might want to use for a certain boss run, having a certain quality built up, they might store or hoard on to those particular ones for one particular fight just to get through it faster. So yeah, I think that's some good feedback. So I know you guys have been working on this. You said for like 4 years or so, but you talk a bit about how the studio came together, or how you guys got to this point where you were even working on a game in the first place. A bit of the history of the development team.
Who wants to answer?
Well, at least part of it, most of the core team, we worked together for 6, 7, 8 years at the previous company. So we knew we worked together well. Then what that company or that particular studio was no more, and we decided there was a point in our lives where we could go crazy and do the game that we all wanted to do, and we did it. Well, I'm in the process, but that's basically it.
Yeah, that's it. We were laid off from the company. The company shut down. So we say, okay, so what do we do now? Let's make this.
Go for it, yeah. That's pretty cool. You banded together, had a cool concept, and started putting together ideas and everything else there.
Yeah, this game is 80% passion.
Yeah,
and the other is blood.
Well, the thing is that the game didn't came straight from that moment. Alberto, the creative director, had these ideas from a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
So he already had some plots in place, some ideas, and some things. In fact, some people already had been working in this as a side project in the company. It's like very, very little development, because side projects don't you don't get so much time to work on them, so they don't get a big level of polish.
Don't mix well with.
But it was an idea that was there. So it's like, okay, let's do this.
The right moment came, and say, let's go. Let's rock.
Yes. Was there like a point in development where you guys really felt like you were on the right track when things were coming together? Earlier on when you moved past just getting certain mechanics to work and such, or your
For me, for sure, there was. I think this is personal. Maybe we three can give 3 different answers.
To me, I'd say the moment we did our first live event or participating in first live event, I mean, it was kind of revealing. It's like, what? People really like it. We should probably keep up with it.
Yeah, for me, it's the exact same point. When we went to the live show and showcase the game in public, to big public for the first time, because we had already show it to small public and so on, and we had good feedback from players. They like it. But when we show it to the public, let's say, and people gave us good vibes about the game, and they were excited to play it, and they even came and played the game after they passed the first demo we had. It was like, okay, this is something cool, because I look at our booth in the event, and there were people waiting in line to play the game, and it was like, okay, this must be good, I think.
that was mind-boggling. I mean, seeing people getting in line to play a little game. I mean, it's like, wow.
Yeah. I have no words, because it was a big event. I mean, you had AAA games, a lot of new games. I remember it was the year that Spider-Man for PS4 came out.
Oh, okay.
So they had a big show there with Spider-Man and so on, and it was like, okay, you have all these cool games, you have the virtual reality right there, you have the other AAAs elsewhere, but you are here wasting, let's say, not wasting, but wasting your time here with this indie title.
I mean, indies can be the highlight of the show for a lot of people. That's what they come out there for.
Yeah.
Especially when you got word of mouth, fans. We've also got diehard fans and friends who might be into a certain game. they'll go back home and report like, hey, I check out this game here. Here's a trailer on Steam. You should keep an eye on it, especially when there's like so many different communities now and Discords and such that share games together. Like I said, like I've seen this game before because of it being trailers being placed in different Discords I'm in. Just from people who are like, hey, you should keep an eye on this one. So it definitely has traveled in that way.
Well, that's so cool. That's something we couldn't even imagine some years ago. It's like, okay, people are going to be talking about this. For me, it's very crazy.
Yeah, it's really cool. But I'm glad that the experience with with people in person has had that kind of impact. I think that it definitely comes through in the game. That it's a passion project in that way. And people can kind of feel that too, which is why they give feedback. I've definitely been in situations where we might have played a game at somewhere, and people just move on. they don't ask or give back information to the team, or it just wasn't that interesting to them. I feel like that's definitely a good sign that people are giving you the feedback that.
We knew that, and people tend to be kind when you are talking to them in person, and they are willing to spend their time with you, telling you what is good, what is wrong, what you can improve, and so on. But we also had a little prize for the people who played the demo. It was a little ping we gave everybody who played with one of the characters of the game. So people really liked the detail, and they were willing to get it, and in return give us the feedback and so on. So I think that was good from our side to do that, to show people that we appreciate their time giving feedback. It's like, okay, here you go. You have a little gift, not too expensive because we are not
Poor people.
Yeah, but it's something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people appreciate feeling valued, even when it comes to gaming, and time is valuable, like you said. So definitely pretty important.
Oh, that was too close.
And a sweat in there. Yeah, that's 1 HP.
You're about to die.
Iron My mode.
Oh boy.
That's it.
Well, you have the shop right there to buy more potions.
Thank goodness.
That's how you clutch it out right there. Kind of close.
Yeah, let's go. Oh, nope. Okay. There we go. Thank you, Bela. You're the best.
Yeah, I imagine as you get more confident with the archer, you might be able to spend that cash on other things down the line.
There we go.
Yes.
And like we were talking through it a bit earlier, but like I was really impressed with some of the environmental puzzles in this game. Because like right off the bat, you get those geysers, and like you get to a point where you can't go back, and then you find that rock, and it makes if you put it over one geyser, it makes the other geysers stronger. Which, that's just, I like that a lot.
Yeah, thank you. We think they are cool as well. The environment, use the environment as a puzzle. Yeah, it's for some people it's sometimes difficult to find out, but once you figure out how it's solved, it's very satisfying.
And like the part that I really appreciate about it is that like there's like that armadillo thing I mentioned earlier. There's decent environmental design here to like clue you in as to what ought to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely like an immersion level. It feels like there's definitely some immersiveness here that I like with the way you engage with the environment.
It's a way to specify the combat. So it's gonna be a bit of combat and a bit of puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace.
The controls have a couple of, I don't know if I would say accessibility options or features, but something that we kind of thought to make the control a bit better. For example, the controls have a bit of memory. I mean, for example, you want to do 2 jumps together. For example, you don't need to time it perfectly. I mean, you can do the second a bit earlier, and it will register. That's something that makes control a lot more precise.
Gotcha.
And well, and also a little thing, but you can, I mean, you can go to the defensive moves like block and roll from any normal attack. You can go there. I mean, you can prioritize the defense.
That's cool. Yeah, see,
It's the kind of small details that are there and you don't even notice. But if they were not there, the game would be much worse. Yeah, it's from time to time you can see a post in Twitter or whatever of tricks like this in famous games, like I don't know, for example, Celeste or things like that. You say, well, you don't have to jump perfectly. We can give you some pixels of fail, which is not the case here, but things like
I
that.
definitely appreciate it. Just because the platforming is the worst part for me. I'm a terrible at platforming. I can do the timing and combat angles just fine, but when it comes to landing on things properly, that is my worst skill in most of these games.
I think we don't have any improvements for that in this game. Sorry.
That will probably take me longer than some of the boss fights, I feel like, in some situations.
Yeah, other things like Saul said for combat and things like that, they are more, let's say, they are, well, we have done something to ease the way it plays.
That's it.
Yeah, because it could be challenging for people in different ways, you know. But you don't want it to be frustrating. So in that way, you give people opportunity to still be able to use things in certain ways. Because I do have friends too, who just they don't have the finger strength to be able to necessarily do things in that way. So having that leniency definitely helps.
Well, that's why I implemented the difficulty options, which is something that you don't see that much in these kind of games. Just some more game, and then maybe people that are not masters of platforming or combat can enjoy the game too.
Yeah.
And you can even change them in on the fly. If you, I mean, you start on mid difficulty and see that the game is too difficult for you, you can change it at any moment.
That's good to know.
Well, or the opposite. You start on easy and the game is too easy for you. Rank it up and enjoy.
I definitely appreciate that. I do feel like sometimes I've been in situations where I've chosen the difficulty and I'm locked into that difficulty for the entire playthrough, and you know, at some point I get too comfortable when it's just not challenging anymore, and it's like, oh, well, I have to start all over again if I want to get into something else. But yeah, knowing that there's opportunity to change difficulties and such is good.
Well, I must say that can also affect some achievements too, sadly. the shot is there. Bam!
Nice.
Love that kick.
Yeah, it's a nice strong kick. Oh, nope, missed the jump.
We got some quality exploration in this map.
Wait.
The good thing of this puzzle is that it is built in a way that you can't get stuck. It's all a part of it. If you move enough, you'll find the solution without too much hassle.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a matter of time.
Because I like got up there already, but I just completely blanked on how I did it. Right.
It happens. I know that you guys don't want to spoil, but is there any? Can you share somewhat of maybe individually what's your favorite character from game, or favorite interaction or boss or something like that? Even if it's just by name. I mean, we don't necessarily see most of the game at this point, but I mean, were there portions of the game that you really stand out to you in a way that would probably be your favorite when it's all said and done?
Well, to me, without saying too much, I think this specific Dangerous boss is one of my favorites, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I like how they are a lot. Yeah, you ask for classes and for bosses. I mean, or
or like when the game drops, if there's a portion that's really going to be your favorite to see people play through, or
okay. Well, there's a biome that it's my favorite because it's so beautiful. That is the forest. When you arrive to the forest, it's a small environment. It's not very big. I love the art the artists have done there, and the music and everything. Is for me is beautiful. Yeah.
And without saying too much, I think that's where you start encountering the smartest enemies, I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay.
and shut up.
That's a nice juxtaposition there. The beauty and also the danger.
Yeah, there's always danger in this game. You cannot
live without it.
Yeah, you cannot get very confident looking at the environment.
When it comes to I know we've seen the skill tree, but the base ability, even for say the archer, can you eventually upgrade the base abilities for the classes, or is that more of just a skill set thing?
How much we can say?
Yeah.
That's a question. That's a question.
I'm not sure. It's like well, the thing is, I don't think you can. I don't remember because we had all possibilities, upgrade, upgradable masteries, not upgradable masteries. We had done a lot of iterations in the mastery tree. So.
Gotcha.
I forgot what to do there, so I'm utilizing the other great thing in this game, which is the fast travel.
Something that we didn't have at the start, but was needed.
Nice.
That's it. In fact,
that's also super
you
useful because one of the most, I think, in the games that don't have fast travel, it is probably one of the most it feels like a slog to go back and find like that 1% of the map that you didn't find before if you don't have like a good fast travel in the game.
But this is kind of a given. I mean, you have to respect the player's game time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the main reason. Respect the time of the player.
And indeed, as we have a so huge game, we don't. I mean, we can use fast travel without any problem.
I mean, that's pretty awesome. I gotta give you guys some applause for that. I appreciate when part of the core gameplay is to respect the player's time. I feel like sometimes there's certain situations where there's people will pad hours by just having to scour through each individual portion of a map, hoping to find the thing you missed. Be a lot.
You can do that too, but be quiet.
Yeah, the thing is that in the end we just realized that we could do fast travel between a lot of points. That there was no reason to not allow fast travel. So it was like, okay, it's going to improve the experience of people, and people are going to be thankful for that. I think maybe they don't even realize it's there, but it's going to improve their experience.
Well, I remember that at the beginning we were thinking about not giving fast travel from the beginning, but I think this was something that we dropped very very quickly because we realized that we were going to need it.
For the better.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like personally, I'm more likely to explore in longer periods if a situation where I feel like it's somewhat convenient for me to be able to go back and forth. I might put in that extra 5 or 10 minutes looking down one path, knowing I can get back or a certain area easier than if I might wander off the beaten path and then have to worry about hopefully getting back at some point. Especially when there's so much danger along the way.
It's an ambush.
Oh my gosh.
That's a trap.
These jerks with the bombs. Not my favorite dudes.
They are persistent. I give you that.
Okay, everything's coming for you. The stalactites, you got they're falling from the sky.
Now I'm over here.
Surprise. Surprise, father flicker.
Yeah, and all of this is taking place with the archer class, so it could be a completely different experience if the other classes trying to get through here.
Well, I guess it goes without saying, but as you progress, the options of combat of attacking improve beyond the basic ones we see now.
Yeah. I like that, it develops with the player. You have more options to work with.
Really? Oh no!
Oh,
Bomb
combination.
spider's the worst.
The combo.
You got the gladiator and the sniper.
Let's take care of you first.
Now what?
Loot!
That's another feature. You got a pendant.
Yes.
We got pendants too.
A lot of them.
Yeah,
Well,
many.
The more the better.
Not just any bone pendant. Bone
You see,
pendant plus.
The little trinkets that alter your abilities in certain ways.
In fact, there are many of them in the story.
Nice. Ooh.
Okay, he's one.
Too many
Yeah,
projectiles.
that's tricky.
At this part, it gets a bit demanding.
The golden spider.
Do you guys know how did you figure out the attributes for stuff like the mist shots? Like I see it saying mist on the screen and stuff like that. Is that like mainly because of the movement of the enemies, or is it like a percentage or something?
It's based on distance. It's very simple.
Okay.
No, it is not. It's not random. That will be a bit unfair.
Gotcha.
So you can attack from distance, but not too much distance.
For now.
Silence. But it is.
Spoiler.
I mean, that's fair.
Nice one.
Just go ahead and leave that situation.
Run to the hills. Run for your life.
Do you guys have anything special planned for lunch, or are you doing kind of a like dev stream or conversation or anything like that?
For me, it's for sure a special beer or something.
Definitely cheers for that, yeah.
I think for Sergio Saul too.
It's either a black beer or a small glass of wine. It's a bit posh, but it's classy.
Yeah, but
Interesting experience.
not sure about streamings or events or something. Honestly, I haven't thought about that. I don't know the
It's just
date
trying to
is-
get through the next few weeks, yeah.
yeah, the date is so near, but not in my mind. I mean, in my mind, it's months away.
So this would be one of
There's still
those,
work to be done.
this would be one of the aforementioned extra spare weapons. You know, like you
Ah,
got,
that's
Yeah.
it.
you got the
That's
bomb, but now I've also got the firebomb that those dudes keep using, so I can use that against
Sweet.
them as well.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh my
Run!
That was pretty cool.
You got
So-
Indiana Jones moments in this.
Yeah.
game.
It's funny.
Keep you on your toes, that's for sure.
Mhm.
I don't know if I should say that. At what point you were almost going to make it, but you decided to go back. But I shut up there. I mean, I don't want to guide you.
Let's see. Was this the one? that was close? I think
Maybe we can give you a clue if you want. But
Oh, for free this time.
I've done it before. I just completely forgot what I was doing.
Well, we must confess that depend
Hot, you're hot.
on which rock you push first, the puzzle is easier or more difficult.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I only said you were hot. And that's it. And now you are not.
oh, I'm okay. Hold on. Oh no. Well, that's not helpful. So let's see.
A classic.
So how? Not yet, anyways. Okay. There we go.
Nice one.
You Jamaica.
Nice.
Right. I did. Okay.
Right.
There we go.
That's it.
That's it.
Revelation. Nice one. Nice one.
Nope. Does he change my weapon?
Nice.
Not thinking the guys that are shooting me in the back while I'm trying to deal with him.
Almost done.
There we go.
That's it. Nicely done.
There it is. And this is one of my favorite things that I've seen in this game so far. So hopefully I get over there without dying. I'm gonna take
The
a
treasure
potion.
chamber.
Just for security's sake, I'm gonna take a potion. I would hate to unlock that and then like die just inches away from it.
That happens to the best of us.
So, let's see. Oh, I went that way. Right here. Oh. Sorry, friend. I need your
Alright.
noise.
I haven't seen any of this. Yeah, I'm curious.
So this is an elemental orb, the igneous
Ooh.
orb, and with it, you can do fire attacks with your basic attacks.
Oh, nice.
And that comes in real handy for these spider webs that have been around. You can torch them.
Nice.
And there was an area down here that was like too dark to go into before. With the fire ability, you can light these torches and light up this area to like travel through it.
Oh, nice.
And that is cool as heck because I can see already that well, I saw it somewhere. I think it was on the well, you've got even right there. You have the elements on there, and then the spots for the several other orbs. And so I once I came across this, it's like, I mean, Metroidvania, it's a thing where like, you know, you get the tools that open up the map little by little, but I really like the idea of these orbs that like basically completely change up your capabilities and how you can interact with the environment. It's one of my favorite things I've seen in this game so far.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's like let's say a type of key we have. You have some, let's call it keys in Metroidvania, as a double jump or wall jump or whatever ability it is. So this is another type of key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Which doesn't sound so exciting if you think about it like that.
Well, it's also plays a important role in combat too.
Of course. Some enemies are weak to some elements and strong to others.
And
That's
worth
it.
noting,
Some master is also makes use of it. So
and also worth noting that it affects your resistances as well. You become stronger to fire type enemies, but weaker to water type enemies.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes it pays off to investigate a bit the enemies, to test them out, to see what's the better strategy.
Yeah, it definitely has some strategy. It's a real cool element. The way it lit up the dark, the lighting was really cool too. In the dark areas.
Jumping in shadows here. Saw the stalagmite. I was like, slime.
Here you see, for example, these flowers are weak to fire.
That's it.
You can notice that when you hit them with a fire equip now.
They get only fewer hits.
right through here.
An aerobic exercise.
There we go. I love that. So satisfied.
An important one.
And with that, we are pretty much coming up against the end of our time. Did a lot of exploring, but I don't want to spoil everything for the folks that will play this game in May. So yeah, this has been Souldiers, and again, thank you to the folks from Dear Villagers and Retro Forge for coming on today. We really appreciate y'all. This has been such a fun time. I am really looking forward to playing the full game. And again, that comes out on May 19th on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, Nintendo Switch, and PC on Steam, GOG, and Epic Games Store. If you have a platform and you of any kind and you want to play this game, there is no place you can't play it, basically.
Yeah.
You can escape.
Okay, so thank you very much for playing the game.
Is there anything
I'm
else
so
you all would
appreciative.
like to rep before we get out of here?
Well, I can only reiterate. I mean, thanks a lot for having us. I mean, it's been a really nice showcase. Let's hope the people like our game, and I mean that's the one thing we want. The people like our game. So thank you.
That's it.
Yeah,
thank you very much
Thank you
for
very
having
much.
us. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having us, and it has been a pleasure to be there.
Where can people find out more about the game?
They can follow us on Twitter. We have an account of the studio of Retroforge and for the game itself, where we post regular updates on things and so on. So I think that's the best way to find us.
Yeah, and they can follow us on Steam, also on our wishlist, for sure.
That's very important.
Absolutely.
The game is ready to wishlist. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, this is one of these things that depends a lot on the community and the people. If your game has many wish lists, it will surely make more noise on release. So this is something where the community and the people can really help us. Wishlisting the game in Steam, just that can help us a lot.
Yeah, and in fact, this is a good point to thank all the community, because the relevance that we had got until now is thanks to them. We are very happy to have such a good community on Twitter and on Steam, and we are really thankful about them. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for being on with us today. To all of you out there, thank you for watching. We appreciate you all. And hey, if you really like what you saw here today, maybe consider throwing us a follow here on the Shacknews Twitch channel. If you really like what you saw, maybe throw us a subscribe. Don't forget that if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can link it up to your Twitch account to get a free subscription each month to use as you please. If you want to throw that our way, we would be happy to have it. You can also find everything that we got going on over at shacknews.com. That's where all of our news, all of our reviews, all of our previews, including the one I did on this game, are located. You can also find us on the Twitters at Shacknews, Facebook at Shacknews, and Instagram at Shacknews Media. For our video content, you can find us over on YouTube at Shacknews Games and GamerHub Videos, which is where we have quite a few videos, including some of the newest, hottest games, and including some gameplay from this game. If you want to see the Scout class in action, I did a lot of gameplay on that one. And just as well, you can see everything that we got going on. Oh, I already said Twitter. I think that's everything then. Thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you to Retro Forge and Dear Villagers for being on today. Thank you to Denny for helping me keep the stream going.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. Awesome talking with you all.
Thank you, everybody, again. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
And this has been
It's been great.
And this has been TJ Denzer, senior news editor for Shacknews and your host for Indie-licious, telling you, have fun, be cool, play more indies, y'all. Have a great week.